Hello guys, my presentation is by the Chinese culture. Reason behind choosing the Chinese culture is due to the increasing amount of Chinese immigration on Curacao. Where I'm from, Curacao, there's a significant growth of Chinese among the population. This increasing amount of Chinese immigrants has made me extremely curious about their culture values, identity, and tradition. Starting off with the official name, People Republic of China, PRC. The name was officially announced and declared by Chinese Communist leader Mao Zedong on October 1st of 1949. China's location, located in Southeast Asia, alongside the coastline of the Pacific Ocean. China is most populous country in the world. Population of approximately 1.3 billion people. My bad. 1.3 billion people. Their currency, one Chinese yuan equals to 0.15 US dollars. A yuan literally means a round object. The capital is Beijing, with the biggest city being Shanghai. Going back in the currency, yuan, round coin. This dated during the Qing dynasty, when the yuan was made out of silver in a round circular form. That's where the name comes from. Now focusing on the capital, despite Beijing being the capital, there are traditionally four major historical capitals of China, collectively referred as the four great ancient capital of China. The four are being Beijing, Nanjing, Luoyang, and Chang'an. Languages. 7 major groups of dialects. Each of these dialects have their own variation. Mandarin is spoken by 71.5% of the population. One is spoken 8.5% of the population. Gan is spoken by 2.4% of the population. Cantonese, also known as Gui, is spoken by 5% of the population. Xian is spoken by 4.8% of the population. Hakka is spoken by 3.7% of the population. And Min is spoken by 4.1% of the population. Canada's 6 cultural regulations are religion, gender, civilization type, class, race, national identity. Today I'm going to focus on 5 of these. Canada argues that religion is the oldest source of human identity and conflict. Religion can be clearly of a regular of how we live our lives and provide a clear ease of identity. Now focusing on identity, Bin Wang is Chinese meteorologist on his Chinese identity as a problem research paper. Ran focus on the problem behind the explanatory of Chinese identity. The main problem is due to the complexity of reality that makes it extremely difficult to formally express. Bin Wang refuses, Bin Wang literally states, I refuse to discuss Chinese identity, not merely because we have had our own better experiences and collective self-identity, the nation, the people, and the proletariat, the party. A series of political ideological substitutes introduced from abroad, but mainly because the rule of English language has already prescribed the meaning of Chinese in advance. As a model of sculpturing, it shapes reality into one meaningful world among many other words from English native speakers. The Chinese always remain the others. It metric underpins reflect the Western desire to constructing the other according to the rules and needs on the part of self. To discuss Chinese identity in English, and it is the same as other European language, will result in any but Chinese. Of course, the explanatory of impossibility of representing Chinese identity might have already suggested something Chinese, but there's something, as I have demonstrated in the above critique of the word Chinese or Xinjiang, is not purely Chinese but cross-linguistic and intercultural. So there's clearly a problem with identifying the Chinese identity. Now focusing on civilization, ancient China left behind a rich culture that may still be in the modern Chinese. The Zhou Qin and Ming dynasty all originated from tiny agricultural villages. Each of the different dynasties made a unique contribution to the community. Writing was standardized, ironworking was perfected, and great philosophers like Confucius and Sun Tzu lived and shared their view through the Zhou dynasty. Xing Wang commissioned the Terracotta Army during the Qing dynasty, while the Ming dynasty rebuilt the Great Wall to protect the country from Mongol invasions. Now going to religion. Chinese religion is not organized, unified system of beliefs and practices. It has no relationship, headquarters, founder, or denomination. It doesn't have a leader, a headquarter, a founder, or denominations. Chinese religion, on the other hand, is a phrase that describes the complicity interplay of various religious and philosophical traditions that have influenced China. It is also important to keep in mind that China has one of the oldest civilizations, which makes China's religion one of the oldest forms of religion we know. Nowadays, China's religion consists of a mix of China's folks' religion, Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism. Confucianism is important as having good moral character, which can then affect the world around that person through the idea of cosmic harmony. Taoism focuses on the universe, holistic, and peaceful principles such as living in harmony with nature and natural order. Buddhism encourages people to avoid self-indulgence, but also self-denial. Now focusing on race, China officially imposed 57 ethnic groups, 55 minorities plus the dominant Han. However, some of these ethnic groups, as classified by the PRC government, contain within themselves diversity groups of people. The Chinese belong to the yellow race because they come from the bloodstock of yellow race. The blood of ancestors is transmitted by heritage down through the race, making blood, kinship, and powerful forces. Tradition. Within Chinese culture's most known tradition is known as the Chinese New Year. It is represented by 12 zodiac animals. In order, they are the rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and the pig. It begins and ends in January to February. Inevitably, the Chinese believe that the Chinese New Year dictates how the next 12 months will play out for each of us. The Chinese New Year. On New Year's Eve, in tradition to leave a red envelope with 2 tangerines, leave on, of course, besides the child's bedside. It is tradition to leave these because the Chinese New Year isn't. It is important to keep in mind that the Chinese New Year isn't remarked by materialistic presents. The amount of generally approximately $20 in these little envelopes, which is more than enough for the youngsters to purchase a toy. But what the envelope actually has the meaning behind the envelope is not so much about the materialistic, but it's more about the color red. For example, the red color favorite, it symbolizes life, happiness, and good fortune. Sending these red envelope expresses well wishes and good luck, as well as money for others. Their cultural values. For Chinese, within cultural values include harmony, benevolence, rightfulness, courtesy, wisdom, honesty, and loyalty. Why always the color red? It's because of the monster named Neon used to scare it off, pretty much during New Year's. Their values. These are very commonly and been back where I'm from among the Chinese immigrants. They're extremely important to keep these traditions and values to something that they embody since the beginning of their diplomacy. Neon, which is the monster that I previously mentioned, is pronounced as year. Year is a monster that terrorizes the villages during the new Chinese New Year. Red is usually to scare them off because it's the seasonal color. History. With an approximately of 3,500 years of written Chinese history, they have the longest continually history in the world. Therefore, China history is also mentioned as monotos and worst of all because of how much there is from it. Despite this statement, I'm still going to go a little in depth of the Chinese history to have a better understanding of why they are the way they are. The 9 dates that I've put here are pretty much the 9 dates with the most massive impact on Chinese history. Focusing on the man but not heaven is pretty much the Zhao for them created the man bed of heaven. This means the presence of not only one ruler. In order to have this role, this ruler must have the blessing of the gods. The other date that I'm going to focus about is 1949, the Communist Revolution, initiated by Mao Zedong, chairman of CCP, founder of the PRC. The goal was the preservation of Chinese communism. And also a very important date to keep in mind, around 1960s, the Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution started with the thought of change. Men and women should be treated equal. Unfortunately, women were still experiencing discrimination and abuse. The main problem, it was harder for women to speak up about this matter because Mao, which was the leader and the creator of the PRC, which is the People's Republic of China, already claimed to the public that this discrimination stopped and was resolved. Consequently, the Cultural Revolution led a lot of problems. Not only women suffered a lot, but also students were affected by this matter. Many believed that it was a method that Mao used in order to eliminate his rivals within the political parties, in order to show others that he was able to stop discrimination at a time where discrimination was extremely present. I'm sorry. Schooling in China consists of 3 years of kindergarten, 6 years of primary school, 3 years of junior middle school, also known as secondary school, and senior middle school. The school in China typically runs from the beginning of September to mid-July. Summer vacation generally spends summer classes or studying for entrance exam. An average school day runs from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. within 2-hour lunch break. After completing these years of schooling, students have the opportunity to continue to higher education. The system has a great reputation, yet very challenging and competitive. According to the OECD report, Chinese students came top of the ODC program for international students in the PIC test. PIC is a test that rates their reading, math, and science skills of 15 years old in 65 countries. I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation about China. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.